And welcome back to Red Card. I'm your host, Anthony Totera, and as I said, we have connected with University of Maryland head coach Sasho Cirovski, a good friend of mine and a guy that has produced so many U.S. star players that have gone on to success. And Sasho, welcome again to Red Card, my friend.
Tony, always great to be with you. I'm sorry for the delay. My phone's been ringing off the hook and I lost my battery charge. I'm ready to go.
No problem, Sasho. Let's talk about that game yesterday. You must have had a smile from ear to ear. Graham Zusi takes that corner and Brooks makes history, and the rest is history. Talk about it.
Well, yeah, it was incredible drama. I mean, I think I must have jumped about 4 feet out of my chair last night. It was a crazy game, but I was waiting for Graham to get a chance, and I know he's a great server of the ball. We knew Ghana struggled on defending set pieces, and the U.S. had gone through a stretch where they weren't playing very well, and it was that moment that you wait for. And my gosh, when this delivery came and the ball hit the back of the net, it was a magical moment. It was the U.S. exercising the demons of the past two World Cups, and in true American resiliency and big moments, we came through, and it was fantastic.
And I couldn't agree with you more. I said this before the tournament started, when the schedule was out. This game for the USA mentally is so important to get the result they needed. They did, but without a lot of injuries. Let's first and foremost, Sasho, break it down a bit. I thought Jeff Cameron and Jermaine Jones were beasts throughout the whole game. They really controlled it. Talk about them.
Yeah, I thought, Jermaine Jones, who, has been a big question mark in a lot of people's eyes because of his lack of discipline at times, and I thought he's been fantastic. That's 13 games in a row he's been without a yellow card. And I thought tactically, putting him in front of, DeMarcus Beasley, Ghana's strength was down the right side. I thought, he did just a great job on both ends of the field. I thought he was the man of the match, for sure. And I thought Jeff Cameron was very solid in the back, really a right back that's transferred into a center back. I thought he was just a man back there. But I think those are two very good performances. But you also have to credit Clint Dempsey because, the goal he scored in the first minute, he's a gamer. He finds ways to get goals in big games. And if you look at both of U.S. goals came on set pieces, and this is a weakness of Ghana. The first one was a simple throw-in, a couple of really nice plays, a great entry pass by Jermaine Jones to Clint, and then he does some magic with that play. And just look, it was a great moment for U.S. soccer, really North American soccer, to get off the start like that in this so-called group of death, and now the U.S. has a lot of life moving forward.
Sasho, they suffered in that second half. I didn't understand why Jurgen didn't put in a Brad Davis, who's a physical player. He would have contended, I think, a lot better than Aaron Johansson. Obviously, with Josie Altidore going out, you needed another offensive threat. But I thought at that moment a Brad Davis would have been a better option.
Well, yeah, I think it was a difficult, in a game of ebbs and flows and twists and turns. I think it was natural that Ghana was going to get a lot of possession. I think you saw some of the physical dominance of Ghana in the midfield. They really started to win it. They got the second loose balls. Michael Bradley had an uncharacteristic, poor game with the ball. I mean, he gave the ball away, but his work rate was still fantastic. It was a gritty, gutty game. I think you could have put a few other guys up there. Chris Wondolowski may have been an option up there. But obviously, Jurgen sees these guys day in and day out, and you can't argue with the moves he made yesterday, because bringing John Anthony Brooks into the game, had a lot of us kind of, scratching our head because of his inexperience, and he did a very solid job defensively, and of course he comes through with that big frame of his and gets the goal. So. Chalk one up for Jurgen. He got a lot more right in that game than wrong.
Sasho, looking at the next game against Portugal, now obviously Josie Altidore will be out, possibly out for the whole World Cup. Your offensive responsibilities are going to rely on Clint Dempsey, and he's going to have to choose between an Aaron Johansson, a Chris Wondolowski, or someone that's going to have to step up. How do you go about really trying to incorporate a little bit more offense, especially with Altidore out? What would you do, Sasho?
Well, I think you're going to have to rely a little bit more on your midfield to create some chances. And we've seen before that Michael Bradley is capable of getting into spots and providing a good assist for some goals. You probably will need to get Fabian Johnson a little more involved in the attack the way he did in the friendlies. I think, Wondolowski's a poacher. He's a goal scorer. He's hot right now. I think he can do an admirable job. He doesn't hold the ball like Josie. He doesn't threaten opposing defenses or keep them honest the way Josie does. But both Wondolowski and Johansson can score some goals. I think the key for the U.S. is not necessarily what the forward does. They'll need better play in the midfield. Although Jermaine Jones was very good on both sides of the field, they'll need better play from Michael Bradley in particular in the midfield. And, Kling will probably come a little deeper to get the ball. But the one area the team didn't do a good job of was possession. And again, I know Portugal came off of something from Germany, but this next game is not a gimme for the U.S. I think Portugal is going to come out rabid. They do have a good midfield, Portugal. So I think there's a lot still left going on here, but they are talking, Tony, down here stateside. The Josie is actually a possibility for Sunday, that it was not torn, the hamstring. I don't think he will play on Sunday. In fact, I would almost guarantee he's not going to play, but I think he could be around for the Germany game if we need to get a point, or if we make it through for the round of 16 game.
Let's talk about Matt Besler as well, Sasho. He will not be in, by all reports, in the Portugal game. He went out early with an injury. He did not look good limping off. Who would you put in his situation? Would you go and put, obviously, an Omar Gonzalez, or would you try something different along the lines of maybe putting in a Timmy Chandler?
Well, I think right now I would venture to say that if Besler can go, that John Anthony Brooks will get the start, because I think Jurgen wants a left-footed left center back. I think Omar would have been a first choice to go into that game, but I think he likes Omar better on center right. So I think positionally at this point, if Besler can go, and by the way, I think he's a probable for Sunday. His hamstring was not strained as badly as Josie, so I think he's more of a possibility. But I would venture to say you'll probably see the same group of four that played in the second half, with Beasley on the left side, Brooks and Cameron in the middle, and Fabian Johnson on the right side. So I think they did an admirable job, and there's probably no reason to change at this point in time.
Sasho, to me, Kyle Beckerman was a revelation, a surprise playing the game he did yesterday. I've seen him and watched him throughout MLS with Real Salt Lake. He's been an unbelievable talent there. But to me, yesterday, he was playing in a position that I think is suited for him, and he was a calming influence. Talk about his game.
Yeah, he's a perfect guy to sit in front of the back four. He really protects a little bit of the inexperience of the back four, and I thought he's really, that's what he does for Real Salt Lake, and that's what Jurgen has seen, is he's a very honest guy that plugs holes. He gets the ball to other people. He wins balls. He's an experienced guy. I mean, I've known Kyle since he was a 15-year-old, and he's a guy that, to be fair, committed to play for me at Maryland, but he signed pro before he got there. He's from the state of Maryland. His brother's an All-American wrestler. He has that type of blue-collar, gritty mentality. He's a tough, honest, hard-working. He's the kind of player that everybody wants on their team. But that's his role. Keep him in front of the back four. Don't let him stray too much. Win the ball, get it to the right people, and he does it as well as anybody.
Sasho, I said this when the draw took place way back in December, that the USA would get out of this group. I'm still sticking with that. But I have a concern watching Michael Bradley, as I've watched him with AS Roma of games yesterday, and I look at Beckerman, and these two guys play quite a similar style of game. Jurgen Klinsmann is trying to rely, in my opinion, too much on Michael Bradley to produce some offense. He is not that type of player. Is this a concern if I'm a U.S. fan?
Well, it's possible, but I think it's worked a little bit better. As you mentioned before, he seems to prefer to play with one striker. We don't have really a true number 10, a guy that's going to get the ball and create a lot of stuff. So it's a little bit more of a blue-collar type of team. I think Michael has emerged as a player. I think he's more of a box-to-box guy. I think he used to be a little more of a sitting, holding guy, but I think he's comfortable getting forward, and he's good enough and covers enough ground to get back. I think you have to live with sometimes, a missed passer here and there, but he's willing to take the risk. I think they can coexist together, Tony. I think they've done the last few games. I think they respect each other, and I think It's working right now, so you got to stick with it.
How great is it, Sasho, to see MLS and the NCAA be the feeder system for a majority of the players on this squad? Isn't it great to see the way the U.S. system has developed these players?
Yeah, it is. You've got 10 MLS players on the team right now, and you've got 11 of those guys played in the NCAA. And if you take away the 7 players that were not born in this country, you've got almost 75% of the players that played in the NCAA, and over 60% that played in MLS. So I think it's great. I'm so happy that we won, because if we didn't beat Ghana in this game, everyone would come crashing. MLS, is not doing his job, and NCAA is not doing his job. So there was a small victory for the American way of developing players. And for me, for a guy who's been heavily invested in this game in North America, I was delighted to see the success. A bunch of 4-year college guys out there. Bedoya was a 4-year college guy. Zuzi, Cameron. You go down the list there, and you say, well, these guys played 4 years in college. They can still play in the World Cup. So it was delightful.
And for me, Sasha, when I watch this World Cup, I shake my head and I look at my sons and I say, it's going to be a long, long time before Canada gets into the World Cup. You look at Costa Rica, you look at the USA, you look at Mexico, and take out Honduras, because I think that they don't belong here the way they played even in their qualifying. And this, to me, is big-time problems for the country of Canada ever trying to get back in a long time.
There's undeniable talent in Canada. The infrastructure has not always, helped with player development, and some of the things have certainly gone awry. And we can have a 2-hour conversation on that. But I know that to put a group of 23 players together, I think Canada should be. I think Canada should be a team that's for me, the top 3 or 4 every year in CONCACAF, and there's no reason why Canada can't be competing, with some of the teams like Australia and the Costa Ricas and Honduras, and knocking them off. I mean, the U.S. and Mexico are a cut above, but Canada needs to be in the World Cup. It's been way too long, and we'd love to see it.
Last question is this, Sasha. We'll let you go very quickly. Like to get your thoughts on this World Cup. It's been an amazing World Cup early on, and I say to people, do not count out Croatia, Bosnia-Herzegovina, and also some of the other countries like Costa Rica, because I believe these countries are coming here to really make a statement for the world. And I think this has been an outstanding World Cup. What have you enjoyed, and who do you think can make a real surprise to the world in making it to the Final Four? Maybe not winning it, but to the Final Four.
Well, okay, so the biggest surprise so far has been Costa Rica's victory over Uruguay. I don't think anyone saw that. A lot of people have Uruguay going very far, which they still might, but Costa Rica had a fantastic performance. Look, I think this has been the best World Cup that I can ever remember. I know they're comparing it to the 1958 World Cup as far as goals scored. It's been a phenomenal World Cup. I mean, all the stars are shining. You've got every day somebody beats somebody. Benzema almost gets a hat trick, then Thomas Muller gets one. You've got Neymar has scored goals, Leo Messi has scored goals. You have virtually every big player. Dempsey scores for America. They're coming through. You had some dramatic comebacks with Switzerland scoring in the last 20 seconds. There's a great game in progress right now. It's been a fantastic World Cup, the best one that I can remember so far. And I just hope that this is just the appetizer for the main course coming up, because I'm glued to the TV like everyone else, and it's been scintillating to see attacking soccer take the forefront again.
Sasho, you're a class act. Continued success at the University of Maryland. God bless, and hope to see you up here in Canada soon. And again, continued success in developing players, not only for MLS, where you've sent a ton, but also to Team USA. You should be proud, and many Canadians are proud of you as well. Sasho, thanks again for joining us, my friend.
Oh, great to be with you, Tony. Take care. Bye.
That is Sasho Cirovski, head coach of University of Maryland. I consider him a friend, and what a wonderful guy he is. Quick commercial break. We're jam-loaded still here on Red Card tonight. Alf the Blast of Tele Latino will spend a couple quick minutes with Alf and talk about Italy-England game, and now looking at Costa Rica for Italy and also looking at Uruguay for England. We'll dissect it very quickly right here on Red Card.
Even though